okay, I think that's
The sweet side is like when you drink, you dehydrate yourself, so that's why you're all, so the B vitamins is hard down with that.
Even up to today, I'm Friday, and like I can
It's live. Woo! That's what it is.
Good morning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so our okay, we're starting. We're live, guys. Good morning, everybody.
Oh,
yes. So thank you guys for coming. We'll keep it real quick because it's Sunday and I'm sure you guys want to go hang with your family. But we're gonna do just like the most basic of basic training there is, because when we got started in AdvoCare, Ryan and I like played AdvoCare. We pretended we knew what we were doing, and we made up our own thing, and we'd sit around the fire and we'd leave because we didn't do anything.
And we were wildly unsuccessful.
Yes. So we followed the unsuccessful system. And so we'll teach you kind of like the way to do AdvoCare. And as soon as we started to follow what they've been doing for 24 years, things started to work because it became something that other people could duplicate. And when you do something that just cycles through itself and it's very simple for anybody to follow, it makes this so much easier. So we'll just go over that, and hopefully this works. So, so there is a training online that I just love that the Platinum distributor Dawn Funk shares, and she calls it the PALS training. So each letter stands for something, and we'll go over that. And it's just like a quick start training for distributors. So if you've been doing this for a while, this is like a good training for you to share with your team. If you're new, this is a great place to start. And it's just so simple to understand how this all works. So we'll share different parts of what this is. So the P of PALS is your purpose. And like, I never really understood how much that meant to what we do, but because what we do is sharing with people, and because that's intimidating, and because people get nervous to talk to people about this, if you have a really strong purpose in doing AdvoCare, you become so much less fearful. And if someone says no, it's no, right, not right now, and you don't get hung up on it. And you also, you know, the way you share AdvoCare becomes a lot more meaningful because you have such a strong purpose. It's kind of, I joke, like I love my kids so much, and the way I talk about my children, no one would ever say anything bad about my kids to me, I would hope. So if you share AdvoCare, like you know, you have such a strong reason for it, people aren't gonna say bad, negative things to you because it's, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Because it's so important to you, you know, and that comes through in how you share it, because it's why you're doing AdvoCare. So your purpose could be, you know, it has to do with wanting more time with your family, and you see AdvoCare as being a way you can do that. Your purpose could be that, you know, you just need a supplemental income, you know, for your family. Your purpose could be, you don't really know what your purpose is, and maybe you
And it can evolve. I mean, when you first start, you know, maybe you just want to make a few bucks to pay for groceries or gas or your supplement habit with AdvoCare. Like, that's awesome. That's a great purpose. Do it. And as you evolve and as you grow in the business, that changes, and that's good.
Yeah.
It shows that you're growing.
And it does. That's a really good point, because I remember going to my first event, and these people had like such strong purposes, and I'm like, I'm not really sure why I'm here, and I don't know what mine is, and they kept talking about it, and it evolves with time in this, but it's a really, really strong part of this, because it's what gets you out of bed and excited to talk about something like this. And maybe it's not even AdvoCare that's what your purpose is, just to find your purpose in anything that you do. I think especially later in life, and I know a lot of us have kids, you just kind of lose sight of, you know, a bigger picture and maybe what you are capable of. So I think that's my favorite part of AdvoCare, is what it brings out in you, just to have a reason to share this with people. So your purpose is huge. Like, think about it, you know, in the front of people's journals, I'll see them just have like my why, and they write, you know, just, I'm sure some of you that were at the ladies event too, they talked about it a lot, just to have that. So that's P of PALS. And when you have that, it makes the rest a lot easier, because you're out there sharing AdvoCare. So I'll have Ryan talk about this. And the A stands for advisor. And some of you are already advisors. Some of you are working your way there. So I wanted to talk about the 2 ways to get to advisor, but really what the importance of getting to advisor is.
Well, you know, if you're going to do this as a business and become a business builder, obviously you need to be at the 40% because it opens up different streams of income for you. like we said, I mean, we have people in this room that just went all in. That is definitely one way to do it. I mean, if you see this for what it is, for a business opportunity, a lot of people have done that. You know, the $2,100 investment is, you know, the $3,000 retail, that gets you right to that 40%. And then when you retail out your product, you make $900. So right off the bat, you're recouping not only what you paid, but also making a profit. Getting to that 40% also opens up those other streams of income. So not only are you making your commissions, your overrides, you start to get leadership bonuses. You get incentives, like Lauren has earned some amazing trips. Other people in this room.
My book's sitting right
Oh,
here.
yeah.
Like, this company loves you so much. When you go on like a trip, they send you a picture book for like of everybody that was on it, and so anytime you earn a trip, you get one of these.
And the trips that they do are so amazing, and they take care of you so well. You've done one with your kids where they've taken care of the whole family, and literally everything you could think of is covered. They do these things for you, and they are just a stand-up company. They take very good care of their people.
But yes, none of that opens up to
None of it opens up until you're an advisor. So, you know, getting to advisor, again, it's the A in PALS. It's one of the main things. That's what you want to do. If you want to build this as a business, it's absolutely essential that is one of your first goals.
And maybe like, so when you're a distributor, you know, that's a great place to start. We all started at a distributor. And the way you earn income when you're a distributor is if you're at a 20% discount, then if someone goes to your site, you get 20%. If you're at 25%, you get 25%. The thing is, if you start to sign up distributors under you and they're at the same discount as you, there's no margin.
Yeah, there's
for
only a
anything.
40% of that pie to be had at any time. So if you're at 20 and your distributor is at 20, then obviously you're not making anything. So that's also your incentive to keep building your discount level and building your commission level as well.
And you want other people to get to advisor as well, because this business is always what's in it for other people.
Yeah.
So like in some people's minds, they're like, well, I don't understand. If I'm an advisor and I have an advisor, you know, what's in it for me?
It doesn't make sense at first.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like, wait a second, like I'm getting pennies compared to a percentage. And then you said it exactly right. It's not about you. It's about building a strong team around you, because that is what this is all about. And if you're sharing this the right way and you're building this and you want this for other people, it not magically, because it's, you know, it makes sense, but your business will grow, their business will grow. You're helping more people, and
it's a leadership
Yeah.
driven business. So that does not open until you're an advisor. So distributor, you only earn income two ways, and that's your discount. You know, you receive that back, and then if you have distributors, you'll make the difference in your discount. But advisors, when, like Ryan was saying, the whole gamut of AdvoCare opens up. And once you're advisor forever. You never have to get there again. That's the greatest part, is like, get there, don't ever think about it again. Now you have yourself a business. So this is one way to get there.
Okay, so the main thing to think of is that AdvoCare does everything in 6-week time periods, basically, because every pay period is 2 weeks. So in order to get to advisor, you have your 3 pay periods, which is usually a 6-week time period, and you have to have a minimum of $500 in each of those consecutive pay periods. So let's see our example here. I haven't looked at this, sorry. Okay.
So first was all.
Okay, yeah, sorry. First way is all in. So you, like we just talked about, you pay the $3,000 retail, which minus your discount is $2,100, and boom, you're an advisor. That's awesome. We throw a mixer, we help you with mixer. You can even retail your product out at those mixers, and you make your money back right away and the $900 profit. The second example is you do $500 in your first pay period, and $2,500 in your second one, and you become an advisor. I mean, you guys can kind of see the breakdown of this. You can break it up any number of ways, as long as you have that $500 minimum in each pay period. And do you want to talk to a little bit about how that $500, you have to have it your personal volume too. So let's say that someone underneath you, one of your distributors, gets to the 500 themselves. That's going to roll into their volume. So you want to make sure, no matter what, if you're gunning for that advisor level, you want to have $500 of your own. And that doesn't mean your personal purchases. I mean, it can be, but that can also be retail and other distributors under you who aren't at that 500 mark.
So like what this doesn't show in those 3 pay periods is, let's say you got 1,000 here, and then you had 200 there, and then you had 20, 800 there. Like, yes, that equals 3,000, but because you didn't hit that 500 in the middle, it doesn't count. So that's why you'll see in the Facebook group, especially every pay period, we're congratulating people who get to that 500 mark because they set themselves into qualification to try and go for advisor. You don't get one shot at this. Like, the way I did it, because I didn't know any better, is I kept trying. I kept getting my 500, and then that last pay period, I wouldn't get it. So then what happens is this one drops off, and you get another chance. And all I was really doing was spending probably more money than I needed to.
And getting back to the fact that we didn't know what we were doing. I mean, so no one was there to say, hey, you guys know that this is a business, and no one told us this. So it was like, oh, we wasted hundreds of dollars. And I don't mean wasted, because we were still buying products and we were still sharing with people, but we just didn't see that angle. And we didn't realize the importance of being an advisor and doing this as a business.
And even if you don't want to do it as a business, getting to 40% on your products, just like from a financial standpoint, makes a lot of sense. Like, if you're going to keep ordering a couple $100s here and there every few months, like, get yourself a 40% discount. I heard someone use the example in a training. They're like, if you went to the grocery store and went to go check out, and they said, hey, if you spend $3,000 today, on what you shop today at Albertsons, I'll give you 30% off your groceries today. And then for the rest of your life, I'm going to give you 40% every time you come back and shop. I'm like, of course, you're going back to do this, so stock up. So that's kind of how advisor works. The great part is, some of those people that do go all into advisor, you have a year to do whatever you want with your product. And if for some reason over the course of the year you decide it's not for you, AdvoCare takes all unopened product back and gives you money back. You do relinquish your distributorship, but I've never, in this amount of time, I've never had anyone return anything. Not even like, maybe they exchange a flavor of Spark, but nobody is not satisfied with what they have. So to be in a retail business and not have returns ever is a pretty amazing thing to be a part of. So keep this in mind. Whatever way works for you is, we will discuss with you. If you have people on your team, we encourage that $500 mark. It's just it's so important to them to know. We've had people that are like at 480 and nobody told them, and
that falls off that next pay period. If it's once the third one happens, that one goes away. So,
yeah, and they were $20 away from trying to get that.
And go to the person who brought you here. Go to your leader. Come to us. We don't care. Like, if you need someone to help you, like, we're happy to help.
Yeah. So this is a really important step. Just, you see it celebrated all the time, like advisor, because it's just such a great opportunity opens up there. So these are the examples. I don't know what just happened on here. So this is kind of what Ryan was talking about. I was like, well, what is the best way to get to advisor, and how can I do that? So right now, we have that promotion. I think you guys have seen online where you get free shipping if you order a 24-day challenge bundle, and you get extra Spark and a free box of Spark. So if you were to do your advisor order in all 24-day challenges, you would get 15 free boxes of Spark, and you get free shipping. I think shipping's like $75.
$79 or something like
Yeah,
that.
on an advisor order.
Is it?
So we have a lot of people. I think, Maya, you just took advantage of it, right? So you're gonna get 15 extra boxes. I think they said that's $400 extra worth of
She's
products.
gonna make it rain with Spark.
Yeah, you're gonna have so much Spark. That's awesome. So what that does is, you now have 15 24-day challenges at your house. You think of 15 friends, family members, anyone that you want to share this with, that creates momentum. I mean, it is amazing what happens when you have product in your house. We did a mixer for somebody, and this doesn't happen all the time, but this is a great example of what can happen. She bought her advisor order, and it was hiding upstairs in her bedroom, and we did a mixer. She had her friends, and they were just kind of staring at us, and when it was done, nobody really did anything. So then someone's like, so how do I start? Do you guys have any products? She's like, well, I have some stuff upstairs. So she brought her boxes and boxes of AdvoCare product downstairs. They took shopping bags and
it was like a warehouse. It was insane.
With 24-day challenges, they all lined up at a computer to sign up to become distributors, like one after another. She got, I think, 8 distributors that night and sold all of her advisor order in that one night. And they seriously walked out with grocery bags full of product because she had it there. It's like that instant gratification. So she sold off her advisor order. She made the $900 back. listen, that doesn't happen all the time, but like our job is to try and help you do something like that. And then we have people that hold on to it for a little bit, and that's okay too, because you will create some sort of momentum by having product at your house. I have people all the time, they're like, do you have one at your home? And I'm like, I don't. So I call somebody who like might have an advisor order and I go pick it up from them. And we help each other that way too. So we would buy it off of you so we can help, just skipped ahead to someone. So that's a really great way to get to advisor. We have people who do half 24-day challenges, half stuff that they'll use for the rest of their life just because, I mean,
Well, and it makes it a lot easier to sample. I mean, we have so many different products and so many different lines. It's not just a 24-day challenge. So when you're like, oh, I really want to try Oasis, or I want to get into the sports performance products, like, you know, it's so much better to sample stuff when you're getting a 40% discount. So it's another reason. Just another reason.
So I guess it moved on. So we have P is purpose, A advisor, L is list, and I'll have Ryan talk about.
Okay, so if you guys brought a journal, this is an awesome time to do this. Literally, you want to take, how do I make it? I wish I had something to draw on. So you want to put a name category here, and then across the top, exactly what those say: energy, weight loss, and performance. And I also say, I like to do a third one. I like to do time freedom too. That's just me. But literally, under those categories, think of 10 people in your life that could use those things. Like whether it's a tired mom that you know, or Lauren was sitting in the nail salon with someone saying that she needed more energy yesterday. You're like, ooh, that is amazing. But you know, it's like she said, if you're listening to the people around you, they will tell you these things. If you're talking to someone and you take the time to shut your mouth and listen to what they have to say, they will tell you their story, and there will be something that you can help them with. So if you look at those things, energy, weight loss, performance, and maybe time freedom, maybe somebody's like, I work at 80 hours a week and I never see my kids or my husband, or I burn out, you know, like these are the types of things that you want to listen for. We talk a lot, and we didn't talk about this in, you know, the 5 ways we get paid, but the 6th way we always say that we get paid is an emotional currency here. And so when you think, we talk about circling 3 of the names out of that whole list, that in each category actually, that you would want to do this with as a business. My favorite part, and it kind of works into my purpose of AdvoCare, is that this is one of the most uplifting, amazing, like heartwarming groups of people that I've ever surrounded myself with. So when I tell people about this, you know, yeah, maybe the products are for everybody, the business is not. So in that list of people that you make, think about the people that you want to spend more time with that could really use this, that, you know, could benefit from being in this culture of people. I know it's a bunch of girls in here right now. We swear guys do this too. But, you know, there's so many times when people just compete with each other and it's a rat race and everything, and this is not like that. So think of the people that you really want to do this with and do life with. You know, your best friends, people you've lost touch with that you want to spend more time with, that type of thing.
And we're gonna talk about how to share with your list. We're not saying like write 30 people and then sit there in one sitting and call them all.
Call them all.
Yeah.
That's what we should do.
So we want to tell you, like, we'll get into that, how to share with the people on your list. Always adding people to your list. You never run out of people that you know. And the best part of AdvoCare, it's not about how many people you just know, but as soon as you have a Ryan, I jokingly call it find your Ryan, because I just had to find one person that wanted to do AdvoCare with me. Don't think of thousands of people. I wanted one person that wanted to do this as much as I did. And when you find one Ryan, you know, she's connected to her network of friends too, and then they become your friends, and then you all work together. So when Greg and I are at where we are at in AdvoCare, I don't have like thousands of people on our team up front. Like, we know a few families that we are helping do AdvoCare, and we're helping them do well with it, and that's how this grows. So don't get overwhelmed by the list, because sometimes like 30 people sounds like a lot to some people. Or you go through Facebook and you're like looking at names, you're like, I don't know, I haven't talked to them in a really long time. You know, this is a great way to actually reconnect. But Ryan will kind of talk about how to think of people.
Well, and all these things that I'm holding in my hand right now are things that Mia Finnegan, our Diamond Crossline distributor, shared with us. And we will post these on the Smart Kids group so you guys can take a look at these. But some of the things that she shares, some of the things that she shares of people who you want to share AdvoCare with, and this is kind of interesting, like the characteristics of a potentially productive distributor. And, you know, you're not looking at them like, hey, are you gonna be good? Are you gonna be good? How about you? You know? But these are things that are gonna make somebody, have a strong purpose, have a strong passion for doing this. So perhaps disgust. It comes up a lot with their current life circumstances, whether, they can't pay their bills and they're just, they're spending too much time at work. They're overweight, feeling tired, they can't keep up with their kids or just their life in general. They're just disgusted with where they're at. Like, that's a person who is very motivated to do something about it. A burning desire to overcome those circumstances. I mean, you could be disgusted and not care and sit on your couch and, eat chips and drink beer. That's fine. Like, some people are happy in that spot. And those probably aren't the people that are going to be your business builders. So a teachable spirit and willing to work. We always say, if you are coachable and teachable in this business, like Lauren said, every single thing that we do is meant to be easily duplicated and just perpetuated. Just learn how to do it and then keep sharing it and make it easy for other people to do the same. And once you do that, that's how this business grows. It's the success system, which we're going to talk about in a minute. It's the same. It's been the same. The difference is we have a lot of social media and technology that they didn't have in 1994, when they literally were picking up the phone every single time. And we're lucky because we have other ways to reach people. So a strong work ethic, at the end of the day, this is your small business, and how much effort you put into it it's going to directly reflect what you get out of it. So work it like that. Even if you don't have a ton of time, maybe dedicate half an hour every day to just focusing on AdvoCare, sharing with people, sending out emails, picking up the phone, whatever it is. Carve out that little niche and that little bit of time and dedicate it, work it like a business. Financial motivation. Again, it's a business, and what you get out or what you put in is what you're going to get out. So a sense of urgency to act now. Again, some people are content to wallow in disgust and just not make any changes. So you want to look for people that are ready to make a difference now. And some history of success in current or previous ventures. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. If someone's good at what they do, they could be good at this too. Very outgoing, friendly people. Actually, you don't even have to be. That's not even true. You could be any.
You could be very introverted.
You
actually
can.
Very good at
Well, I stopped myself because I was thinking about Lauren talked in her talk at Ladies Alive about how we've all got blank canvases, but we all paint a different picture, right? We don't all have to do things exactly the same. And that's what makes the world go round. It's what makes us all, connect with different people on different levels. If everyone were the same personality type, it would be boring and there'd probably be a lot more conflict. So finally, character and integrity. Obviously, this is a business that's built on that. Goes back to why this is such an uplifting and positive place to be, and we have a great company culture, and you want people that are in line with what we do, and open-minded. I mean, I'm looking at these.
Yeah, no, it's one that's not on there that I think we all notice too, is busy people that are already busy. They always use the thing, I'm too busy to do AdvoCare, I'm too busy. Busy people do really well with AdvoCare, because if you're someone who can put a lot on your plate and juggle things and find a little crack in your day to do something else, chances are you'll fill it up with something else because you love doing things. That some of what was that? Why is it so loud? It's like Prince just Channel Prince, you guys! Prince is here. Hello. That's awesome. That was creepy.
That was awesome. That was a speaker.
Guys, that was kind of weird.
Okay, this is
Prince is like, I've been busy.
Yeah, it's like Prince is, yes.
All right. I don't know either.
And we'll upload these
Yeah.
To the Sparkheads group, but what Ryan was talking about with the 3 categories, we actually have that, so you can kind of track people, and just, like we said, just seeing names makes you think about people. You don't have to look at this and be like, I'm gonna call them, and then it's just thinking of people and putting them down, because when you actually take the conscious effort to write names down, you start to associate, you think of them, and it makes it more likely that you'll actually talk to them because you have them on your list.
Yep, and then you say something to them like, hey, I've been thinking about you for this for a long time. I think you'd be really good at it, and we'll go into your ways next to share. Do you even want to share the one? I mean, that's kind of, we'll post this stuff online, so perfect.
And that was awesome. And it's, it's funny, people with their list, and CJ's a good example of this too. Sometimes you write down names that are like really intimidating, and people call that your chicken list. It's somebody that you just know would be like incredible, probably because you think really highly of them, and a lot of other people do too, and you're scared to talk to them about this. It takes a lot to bring it up, and sometimes you have to wait for the right time. Like Ryan said, it's all about asking other people questions. But don't be afraid to talk to that person, because chances are somebody else is thinking of them too. And there's a perfect example of our applying the Varvels. Greg and Sarah Varvel, he uses it in a training now. He had to turn it into a training, otherwise you get really upset over it. But his chicken list person was Jason Miller. So that's a friend they all went to like high school with, and they all were like, you know what, he's really successful in what he does for work. They have a great income. They've got their kids, their family, life's good, but he's so outgoing. He's so influential. I gotta talk to him, and he was scared to talk to him. You know who talked to him? His older brother, Tom. And guess what? Jason Miller is a diamond in AdvoCare with diamonds upon diamonds underneath him, and he ended up being one of their best people. And Greg and Sarah, like, they had to turn it into a training because he didn't, like I said, take no way to cry
every day.
But that person, chances are someone else is thinking of them. It could be your very own brother or sister. And then, yes. And luckily we are all team AdvoCare, so they all work together still, but that was
I wanted to say something too, just on when you're making that list, don't prejudge people. And we talk a lot about that. I mean, even if everything looks shiny and perfect on the surface, like with Jason, like, you never know. You don't know if people are swimming in debt. You don't know, what their personal circumstances are. So to prejudge them and say, oh, they don't need AdvoCare, you don't know.
Yeah.
So just
he ended up, he was in a Fortune 100 company, and they had a major layoff, and he was part of it. So their amazing income went away pretty quickly. So they had AdvoCare to fall back on, and AdvoCare has more than double, tripled what he was earning as a, in a great position. So you never know someone's circumstances or what might happen. Someone said to me, sometimes the need for AdvoCare doesn't present itself until you have AdvoCare in your life, and you don't know why this is here. And then something might, not to say what ifs, but something might come up later in life that you're like, oh my gosh, this is why I needed AdvoCare. Like, this is why it was part of my life. So sometimes I love when someone said that the need for AdvoCare, presents itself after you've had AdvoCare. So sometimes you don't have all this disgust and all this despair and all this. You just love helping people, and you want to be involved in this, and it's a great safety net for your family, but you don't know. So let me go on to the most important part of this. So the S in PALS is the success system. Now, so this is the part that Ryan and I avoided like the plague, okay? Because when we heard people talking about the success system, we're like,
we are never, ever, ever calling anyone ever.
Yes. We basically went through each point and said, oh, I don't do that. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, that makes me uncomfortable.
We're going to do the Ryan and Lauren success system of AdvoCare.
And sit around a fire pit and go nowhere. So we were very, very product-based. And listen, the product is incredible. Everybody loves it. It's easy to share because that's what AdvoCare has. They have amazing products, so you share them. We did not do something that helped other people do well. So we would have a new distributor, and they would look at us and say, well, I kind of want to do AdvoCare. We'd be like, great, just go talk to some people.
Go share more challenges with people. Good job.
Yeah, and we didn't, because we didn't know. That's all we were doing. So we eased ourselves into this because honestly, we went to some larger events and we realized everybody who was doing well with AdvoCare was doing this. So we were not going to reinvent the wheel 24 years later. We had to start doing what everybody else was doing. You don't go into a company, any company, and think that you're going to change what they already have in place. Yes, maybe you can add your own flavor to it, and that's your personality, but the foundation of what you're doing is always the same in AdvoCare. So when we share this, we're not sharing it to say, oh, this might be a good way for you to do this. This is how we do AdvoCare day in and day out. And the second we started doing this, our business, so it times 5. I always tumble every time I get started.
Times 5.
It times 5 itself the year after because we had a system in place. And it's continued to grow because when you have someone that's 7 layers below you with all these people, they know what to do. It's the same thing. So you have to do this. It's just the way it works. So the first part of the success system is a one-on-one, and that's you, you know, and we'll get into how you do a one-on-one, but a one-on-one is your story. You know, Ryan brought up the example of the woman at the nail salon the other day. So when someone asks about AdvoCare, you don't dump Advo on them. That's not your job. We get really excited about it. When someone asks you, like, what's AdvoCare, they're just looking for a quick answer. They don't care as much as you do.
20 minutes later, you're
Like even like when people ask Greg, what do you do for work? And he starts talking about
Yeah.
they were just asking, like, what do you what do you do? So like they're not asking like what your desk looks like and what you do every day. Like I always say, don't tell someone how to, just tell them the time, don't tell them how to build a watch.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's AdvoCare. Don't tell them everything. Just give them a little snippet into what it
And
is.
we'll work on that today too. Your 30-second story. That's what they want to hear. Maybe you give a little more time. Maybe your 2-minute story, but
Yes.
after
So
that,
you're the preview of AdvoCare. Just quickly share what it is. So the woman at a nail salon, I didn't tell her, oh, on Sundays we have meetings and I wear a shirt and we go. Like she just said, do you do AdvoCare? And I was like, I do. What do you know about it? And then she started to talk, and then she said, well, what's your involvement? And I just said, my husband and I, XYZ, you know, it's become an amazing thing for our family. We love sharing it with people now, and it's a great way now for me to be able to stay home with my kids and do this and help other people do that. And she was like, you get to stay home and do AdvoCare? And I honestly talked for 15 seconds and said what I did, but it was enough to get her wheels spinning, and she asked questions. So don't dump on people. Like, and if you wear something, you know, or a wristband, or carry a water bottle, or you drink this, people are like, what is that? You know, you just have, yes, that was totally CJ. This all started with a spark with her. So,
And I don't even think you guys wore AdvoCare.
no, I don't
we don't
think,
think we
back
can
then.
hear then. We
Mm-mm.
weren't committed.
you guys we'll talk a little right after this about how to share your 30-second story, but your one-on-one, that's just you talking to a person. It could be a mom at a baseball game. It could be someone at the gym. It could be a longtime friend,
Whatever
whatever.
at the grocery store. I mean,
Anybody. Like we go to restaurants, anybody. It's a quick story. So this is a very important part. This is what we started with first when we finally decided to ease into the success system, is 2-on-1s or 3-way phone calls. All that is bringing one other person in to give you some credibility and to back you up. They are not awkward. I am on the phone all the time. I love 3-way phone calls because CJ just says, hey, you know what? I know you guys want to lose extra weight past the 24-day challenge. My friend Lauren, oh my gosh, you have to talk to her. Her and her husband, they lost 90 pounds. She'll be a better person to talk to about this just because she knows a little bit more about this part, you know, or whatever.
It's a very different thing than saying, hello, would you like to talk to my sponsor since you're almost done with your challenge? I sure don't.
And you edify the person they're about to talk to. So
And
they're
I think-
really excited.
Can I
to
just
talk
say
to
something real quick?
Yeah.
I think the key is I know the answers.
Yes.
Yes.
I know the answers 100%, but that doesn't stop me from pretending I don't know the answers to get that person on the call with Lauren. It just
It's a
works.
very good point. CJ could answer, what do I do on day 25 after my challenge? She knows the answer to that. You get some M&S Spark, get a discount. She pretends she doesn't, and she says, you know what, I think I know the best option for you, but let's call my friend Lauren, because she's just been doing it a little bit longer. We'll make sure we come up with the same plan for you. It's like, it's not a question. It's, this is what we're going to do next. And Kirsty does a great thing that when she gets a new person on a challenge, she tells them ahead of time, hey, you know what? On day 3, I'm going to check in and we're going to do this. Day 11, we're going to do this. On day 16, I'm going to actually have you talk to my friend, and we're going to come up with a plan for you from day 25 and beyond. So they know from day 1,
That's
which
really
is
good.
great. They don't think it's weird by day 16 when you say you're going to talk to a friend, because she told them they're going to talk to a friend.
I've never once had anybody ever say that's weird or whatever if I set it up from the beginning.
Yep.
They're like, cool, let's do it. They're excited. At day 16, they like see it.
Oh, they're 5 days
I
into the
wanna-
vaccine.
yeah,
They're like,
I
let's
wanna-
talk to
Yeah, and they're like, I want to talk to somebody. Great, let's come up. And I always say, like, we can customize a plan for you. Who doesn't like to hear customize something specifically for you and your goals?
It's awesome. So I love that she does that. It could be a phone call locally. We go to Starbucks a lot. We don't drink Starbucks. We like buy their water and we like leave pink powder all over the place. It's like our thing. But you know what? It's really fun. Like I'll just go with CJ and she'll bring her friend that's new and we chat. And it's not just about AdvoCare. It's getting to know them. It's a 2-on-1. So that's just, introducing another friend in AdvoCare, and what it does is, so you're edifying the person they're about to talk to, like, oh my gosh, I want you to talk to this person, I love them, they're my friend, you should hear their story, it's crazy.
You're gonna love it.
Yes, you're gonna love them, and they're so excited to talk to them. And then what that person does on the call is they edify you. So they make you look really good, like, oh my gosh, you're working with Kirsty, she is just amazing, she's gonna follow up with you after this. They also share their story in that amount of time. The best example is your children. Like, they don't listen to you, okay? Like, kids don't listen to you. A teacher says the same exact thing you said, or a coach, and they're like, okay. And they listen. That's what a three-way phone call is. That's what a two-on-one is. It's somebody else. Your friends love you. They do, but they just don't listen to you. Or especially a family member. Like, put your family member on the phone with somebody else, because like that, they listen. Like, it's, yes.
I just want to add to the third party credibility, because I think we can apply that to every single thing you do in your life. I've seen situations where even with outside things like, oh, I was thinking about trying this mascara, but I wasn't sure. As soon as I said, oh, this mascara is awesome, that's what I use, I'm like, okay, well, you said, so I'm going to go ahead. Someone already told them it's awesome. Like, I didn't need to do that, but they just psychologically, we always listen typically to like, two people said the same thing. Okay.
Well, and it's typically the people that are closest to you that are most resistant and need to hear it from someone else.
Exactly.
Whether it's probably really close friends or family, they're like,
I told my
Lauren
team,
says it, they're like, okay, good.
yeah. I told my team all the time, it is nothing personal. Like, don't take it like, well, I told them that, why aren't they listening? No, like, it seriously is just a psychological thing. Think about like when you were going out with a boyfriend or something for the first time and your mom tells you, put on a coat. No, mom, that's fine. And then your boyfriend comes in, it's kind of cold, you should put on, okay. Like, you just listen. We do it with everything. We do it at work, we do it on personal life. So don't take it personally and trust the credibility. The situation here is just about credibility. Just trust it. Like, kind of put yourself in the back seat and say, you know what, like, I'm going to put Lauren or whoever first and say, this works and the credibility works.
And that's a good point, because sometimes people, like, they'll get off a three-way phone call and the person's like, oh, perfect, I'll sign up and be a distributor right after and I'll buy my challenge. And then they get off and they're like, the person's like, I told them the same thing and they didn't do it. Don't like hurt your, that's not hurting your feelings. They say in life, people need 6 to 7 exposures to anything typically before they decide to do something. And like, Miley, you're probably a great example. You've heard it through so many of us and you're probably just like, but it got to a point that finally you heard something from enough people that you started to believe in it for yourself. And it takes time, and everybody's timing is different. In this, some people get it from day one and they're like, I'm ready. Other people, it takes a year, and they just need levels of conviction. So number 2 is so important, because it's one more story, and it's usually a really good story because it's somebody else who's been doing it longer, and they're going to talk you up. They're so fun. They're not awkward. Three-way phone calls are just like 20 minutes, and they're just every time. Like, it's just.
And they can also bring up the business aspects or invite you to a mixer or like, that's now their responsibility, and now it takes the weight and burden off of you. Like, how do I get them to a mixer? How can I explain the business?
Especially if the mixer's at Lauren's house or my house, and I'm talking to Kirsty's friend, and they say, she says, you want to go to my friend Ryan's house for this thing?
Yeah.
No. But if we've talked on the phone and we've established a relationship, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing this thing at my house on Monday, would you like to come with Kirsty? It's a very different story than, hey, want to come to a stranger's house with me? Nobody wants to do that either, right?
And, the 2-on-1 is great too, a three-way phone call, because you can do that anywhere. We have team across the country, and we do three-way phone calls for people in New York and Florida, wherever, because a phone travels with you. And that's like the best part of AdvoCare, is you can share it with someone everywhere. Not everybody has that local mixer, but that's kind of like the responsibility is on you to start something like that. A mixer was me and Ryan, and then Whitney was our next person in our mixer, and then she joined our fire pit, and then it was Casey, and like our fire pit grew a little bit bigger and bigger, and then step 3 is the mixer. So a mixer is probably what we were most hesitant about, but it's probably my favorite part now. It's an hour, and it's at our house, and it's the same. Everything we do, guys, is the same. Like, if you came to a training, you're like, it's the same thing. I like to, that's AdvoCare. We don't change things. It's
the
like
mixer's the same format every single time. It's not going to change. It's meant to be duplicated easily, you know?
And we're not doing it to be like, wow, they're so unoriginal. It's the same thing every week. We're doing it because someone can walk in and say, oh my gosh, it's really easy. I can actually like talk
And
verbatim what they're saying.
And it's why we tell people, like, don't go make an entire spread of food and all these drinks and all this stuff. I mean, literally, you serve Spark, you talk about the ways to be involved with AdvoCare, you share stories in the room, you talk about the 24-day challenge because that's what people have mostly heard about, and then you wrap it up with, you know, you do talk about the business side and a little bit of the stories that with that, and then it's done. It's an hour, literally. If people want to stay after and ask questions, great, but that's it.
We always respect people's time
Yes.
at AdvoCare. We will finish here at 9:30, so you guys can go enjoy your weekend too. It's just everything is punctual. It's an hour. People, you know, it's harder in California. I think people don't tend to want to gather when they already have such busy lives and they've worked a long day or they've driven their kids to every sport imaginable. But like sometimes it's nice to get out and do something different for an hour. And so you get in that room and you're inspired because you heard it from, not only did you have a great conversation with somebody, but now you're hearing like 5 other people's awesome story and you're just motivated. You know how easy it would be to bring someone to a mixer and have them experience the same thing. So mixers are just great. It's story sharing. That's what AdvoCare is. We all have the same products. Everybody's got the same product. What makes someone, you know, start to do well in AdvoCare? It's what they add to it. It's the value you add to that. So mixers are just awesome. So we do those usually every Monday now, but every other Monday. It can be 2 people, 3 people, it could be 30 people. A mixer is just coming together and sharing AdvoCare in a group setting. You can use an Impact magazine. There's a DVD for it. We have a little easy slide that's the same as an Impact magazine. It's the same format all the time. So here's the important part. The way the success system works is in that order for a reason, because chances are if you just talked about AdvoCare with somebody and then said, hey, you want to go to this mixer on Monday? They're like, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. They don't want to go to a stranger's house. Sometimes it works. I mean, we get people who just bring people and I've never talked to them on the phone, but I know I'm going to have a good mixer if I was on a lot of 3-way phone calls, because all those people, I invited them to come to the mixer. And by that point, they're like, yeah, I'll come here more. And they'll come. So this order makes a lot of sense, the way it works. So then, you know, you come to a mixer, we talk about bigger AdvoCare things. We just so happened to have, like, last 2 weekends ago, was it 2 weeks ago? Was Ladies Alive. So that next step is a larger event. Here's the thing, we're in California, we don't have that much yet. I mean, it's still a very untapped area, which is exciting. But because of that, when we have a larger event, usually our hands are in that and we're built making it because there's not too many to go to. So you go to something like Ladies Alive and you just want to do more. You're just inspired, you're excited, you loved it. You heard so many more stories. You saw the bigger picture. You felt the heart of the room. I think like your team there were some girls there that have been to mixers and they love AdvoCare, but when they came out of that event, they were like flying. You know, they were just so excited, and that's the power of a large event. I can't share how I felt there. You have to be there. So that's what happens there. And then the big event is Success School. That is in July. It's once a year. AdvoCare doesn't require anything of us. When you work independently of a company, they don't tell you what you need to do. It's up to you. But Success School is their one national training event for a weekend. And I didn't go my first year because I was like avoiding all of this stuff. And guess what happened? Nothing. You know, I actually sent a teammate by herself. Like, how often? Yeah, she was like, oh, I guess I'll go by myself and meet a bunch of people I didn't know. So Samantha, if you're watching, sorry, Samantha.
Wow.
Yeah, she went. Her first year by
The
herself.
second year, it was only
The second year
5
there
of
was
us.
5 of us. And then the year after there was 30. And then this year it's already up to like 60, I think. And you have to go. I mean, it's just amazing. You want training, you want to learn about AdvoCare, you want to see how big this really is, you go to Success School. And CJ, you know, she was in AdvoCare for what at the time? 2 months?
3 or 4 months.
4 months. And she trusted enough in all of this and knew what she wanted to do. And she's like, I don't know.
No, I didn't trust. I just did what I was told. I literally didn't know what was going to come out of it. I
We're
was
like, you should go to Dell. She's like, all right.
You're right. You just listen.
I just listened, and I was like, if there's one thing that I'm really good at is that if there's someone that I aspire to be like, and if they're telling me what I need to do and what I'm going to listen. And that's Lauren. Like, I want that. What she has grown with this is something that I want to grow. So why would I not listen to what she's telling me? If you want to build this, you need to go. So what ends up happening is I almost doubled my income for the next 3 months. And then it's just grown every single month since then. So,
and now you're going to Naples. So.
And now I'm going to Naples with my little Ryan girl.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Training.
that's training. I'm thinking of training.
Which is
Which
yes,
is also
that's
another
not
amazing
super
thing.
exciting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just, being in this for a year, and do I follow this perfectly every single time? No, I fall off, but you can't get on yourself. You just get right back on, and you're like, where am my connections, and where am I missing my connections? And you just jump right back into getting into what you do. And I find myself doing that sometimes. I'm like, wait a minute, why are things kind of not going my way? And I reevaluate, okay, what haven't I haven't really got many people to mixers, or I haven't really gotten anybody on the phone with Lauren in a couple of weeks. So what's my problem? Okay, let's get this right back on.
Yeah, if you're feeling like you're disconnected and lost, plug back into this.
Yep, it's very true. And everybody's going to go on their own pace, and it's really what you see at the end of where you want to go. Everybody's dreams and aspirations are so different. So I can't tell you like what yours should be, but I know what mine are. And I don't ever lose sight of that. I may life comes into play and things happen, and then you literally just jump right back into where this is. It just works.
It's the foundation of the company. And she's right. If something feels off and you're wondering why things aren't happening, if you go back to this and you always the one-on-one. Have I talked to anybody new about this recently? If you haven't, then you've got nobody to start plugging into this. So that's a really good point. You always go back to this and see what you're kind of missing. So yeah, you know what? I realize there's a slide for each of these, and we'll do the 30-second story quick at the end. So this is an example of a mixer. We fill up the room. It's fun. A lot of you are in these pictures. This is like our larger events and successful. So this was last year. And that was AdvoNation, so that was a larger event, and we just have the best time. I mean, when Ryan was saying emotional currency, some people, you guys, they don't even want to do this as a business, and that's okay, but they're like, I paid $79 and have some of the best friends I've ever had in my entire life.
I get emotional just looking at that bottom picture, I mean, that whole stadium is filled with people who have a passion and have a drive for this, and to be around that type of energy, I can't even explain to you guys how powerful it is.
Yeah. So yeah, and CJ saying, everybody's got a different timeline. Not everybody wants to dive in head first and do this as a business. That's okay too. It matches you where you're at. So what you put into it is what you'll get back. And it's okay if you're not full-blown AdvoCare. It took me a while to want to do that too. Ryan was a good year. CJ watched for a year. Kirsty did 2 years. I mean, all of us, it was a while before we decided that we wanted to do this. So we always say there's your start date in AdvoCare, and then there's your decide date. And your decide date is when you're like, you know what, if I just decide that I'm doing this and, start sharing it the right way, things start to happen. I mean, you have to mentally be committed. So we've got a little bit of time. We'll end on 30-second story, just because this is a great little practice. Maybe we'll break up into a couple little groups, but you want to nail this, because the hardest question, the simplest question is also the hardest question. What is AdvoCare?
Can we tell Judy's story?
Oh yeah,
our good friend Judy. Hi, if you're watching. She's been doing this longer. She's the one who told Lauren, got her to her first real event. She's awesome, but she, tells the story of someone came up to her and was like, "What's AdvoCare?" And she was like, "Nutrition," and ran away.
I said nutrition, and I ran off. And she's like, you wait for that moment for someone to ask you about AdvoCare. You're like,
was stop. So if you don't have this in your back pocket, if you don't know what your 30-second story is, you're going to say nutrition when someone asks you. And it's so much more than that. So, the key components of this, where I was, what I saw, what happened, and where I'm going. And that's going to be different for every single person. But essentially, what was that level of disgust, or what was that thing that you wanted to change? That's where I was. What I saw, You know, who in this room or who brought you to AdvoCare? What did you see that was making a difference in their life that inspired you to want to change something in yours? What happened? What did you do? Did you do a 24-day challenge? What happened with that challenge? Did you start on Spark only and it changed your life because you were happy mommy juice in land, whatever. And then where I'm going, like, what do you want to do with this? I'm sharing with friends. I'm doing this. I'm building this as a business. It's supplementing my income. It's taken over, what I used to make or whatever it is. And everybody's stories are going to be different. But taking those key components and condensing it into that 30 seconds, so when someone does ask you, the checker at the grocery store, the lady at the nail salon, whoever it is, you have a concise story without advo barfing all over them, and you can share that little nugget. And then you stop and you listen. And then they tell you.
End this with a question. Yes, always like say, have you tried Spark? So anytime you finish your 30-second story, and you guys like now we'll practice to make it 30 seconds, but don't like be like, well, when I started AdvoCare, it's just
where I was when I started out.
Yeah. But just and it always ends in a question. And so when you end in a question, it allows them to start talking, and it's not you just answering what is AdvoCare and then that's the end. You start a conversation. So maybe, I don't know if you guys want to like practice or if you want us to like call on somebody, but like a great example. Hi, Shane. But I'll give you an example. So like, I was, home with my kids after putting my career on hold, and I was overweight and I just wasn't taking good care of myself, eating leftover peanut butter and jelly crust, not in a good place. And I saw friends' amazing 24-day challenge results online. They have this program that really teaches you how to eat and take great quality supplements. I did it. My husband and I, in about 5 months, lost a combined 90 pounds. We felt the best we've ever felt in our entire life. So that's what happened. And then just by sharing it with friends and family, this ended up being something that I could supplement my income with. I love helping other people. And now it's been something that has replaced my job, and it's what I do full time. Have you ever heard of AdvoCare before that? Just whatever you want to end it on based on what they ask. It's just like, it's your story. It's very simple. Sometimes it changes a little depending on what maybe they were asking you about, but it's pretty straightforward. So that way I don't get hung up when someone asks that question, what is AdvoCare? So, Kirsty, you want to do your 30-second story?
Okay. So I had just had my second baby and had about 30 pounds to lose, and I seen Whitney's results, so I jumped on. In about 4.5 months, my husband and I lost a combined 65 pounds and felt the best we've ever felt in our lives. And so now we just use this as a great opportunity to share what it's done. And we've gone on to help so many of our friends and family lose huge pounds and get back to their goals and have great energy. And it's now bringing in an awesome supplemental income. When you have 20 minutes, I love to share more with you.
Perfect. So that's it. CJ.
Oh. My husband and I were at a point where we weren't feeling very well, and we were fatter than fat. And I saw 2 girls at a boot camp, and I was wondering why they were so bubbly all the time. So I asked them what they were doing, and when we finally decided to jump in, we ended up losing all the weight that we wanted to at the time. I lost 8. My husband lost 22 pounds. We've never felt better than ever, and now we help all of our friends and family feel amazing too, whether it's weight loss or just really kind of sluggish or how you're feeling on the inside. It really kind of brings you more connected to your family, which is amazing. And we have brought in a tremendous amount of income that is kind of shocking at this point. I'd really love to help you. Is there anything that, sounds interesting to you to go into doing this with me, or even like losing weight just to feel we have happy mommy juice and everything? So, let me know.
Awesome. So yeah, and you hear the big weight loss stories and everything. That doesn't have to always be part of your story. You could say like, oh, it could be Spark, we have a lot of people on our team that have stopped drinking like Diet Coke and Monster energy drinks or whatever, and they're like, this has replaced it. I feel so much better now because I don't do this anymore. And then maybe they can share a little bit of someone else's story. I have friends that have lost a lot of weight and they feel fantastic. So AdvoCare has products for everything and performance. So anyone's story can be different. We have people that do CrossFit, and as soon as they started doing AdvoCare, they're getting PRs and they're WODs that they're doing. Everybody's story is different. We just so happen to be sharing some weight loss ones, but just think about it. Write it down, practice it. I've had people record themselves for 30 seconds and they text it to me on my phone. Hey, yeah, that's an assignment. It actually was really fun. We did it online, and I think everyone that did it, I put their name in to get a free canister of Spark.
So are you offering that again?
I will actually, because it was really fun. No, I'm going to do that. So if you post your 30-second story to the Spark Heads group, it's
How long do they have?
To everybody?
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I mean.
If you can't talk to the smart kids, how are you going to talk to them?
I'm just like a large group.
Yeah. 13 people.
I love it.
Perfect.
It's not.
You know what though? That's a great, I love that you brought that up, because this entire business is extremely uncomfortable. I mean, we're talking about hard things to talk to people about. I mean, weight loss and money and things being, yes, and it's all personal growth. This entire thing, like, you will grow so much as a person doing this. You'll become a better person. You'll become more confident. You will just push yourself and do things.
We said you have to get to actually grow, you have to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
If it feels really hard, then chances are you're doing something right.
Last year when they did this, I think I was doing AdvoCare for maybe 2 months, and they had everyone do their 30 seconds. I mean, it took me like 30 takes to get my 30 seconds. Like, it was horrible, and it was like pulling teeth, but I did it. Like, you're going to do, either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. And if you don't do it, that's just hindering yourself backwards. Like, why? Just release it, and just, if we're not going to do something to tell you guys that's going to harm you.
Right.
Everything that we tell you to do is going to be to benefit you.
I think it was like, you have a voicemail. I pretend to. So I was like, when first she like called and left her 30-second story on my voicemail.
No, we listened to it on speaker. We were all here.
No.
Shut up. I'm serious.
But I knew like how much that took for her to do that.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
awesome.
mean?
Like, that's stuff. So I'll take, like, talking about finances and public speaking are my biggest fears when it comes to like myself and my inner personal growth or whatever. So doing a mixer for the first time, she was there. I had note cards. I was shaking. Like,
And this is in your own living room.
in my
with your friends.
my mom and my closest girlfriends. I mean, and I'm shaking. And then I'm like, this is stupid. Because I was fumbling around with cards. Like, of course, you have it all labeled and perfect. And then you get there and 5 is number 1. And you're like, so you have like that. Oh, shit, So I like put it down and I'm like, forget it. I think I had like 2 sentences. And then I looked at Lauren and I'm like, I think I forgot something. Like, okay, And so she just like picked it right back up, and then you get like into it, and then I start crying, and then I mean there was not because of that, but like because you're super emotional and like vulnerable to your friends and family or whatever. But like it went really well, and it was funny because at the end everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, you were so like just honest and true to who you were."
As soon as she put the cards down,
You're not like, hello, this is AdvoCare. Thank you for coming, Mom. Mom. Thanks, Mom.
But now I do mixers all the time. I host them for my team, and yeah, there's that little bit of like, oh gosh, hopefully I don't mess up. Yeah, exactly. But it's totally.
And we push you, like that's what happens.
Oh, Lauren will throw you under the bus. You'll be sitting there and she'll be like, oh, do you want to share the 4 ways to be involved with AdvoCare? You're like, ooh.
Yeah, well, just now throwing me like do your 30 seconds. Right. My initial crap, because you guys, I don't know all of you, and I'm like, I'm gonna mess it up. But I've grown in 6 months, 7 months, to where it's like, just do it. Just who knows what it's gonna lead to and who you're gonna become by just putting yourself out there. What does Todd say? Like 60 seconds of courage. Like just put yourself out there for 60 seconds. Like pace around with your phone and okay, I gotta call this person. You can do it, and like just make the call. Like you don't know what's gonna happen. I think with even Todd, he was like, he got some breathy voicemail from a friend, like, I have an opportunity. I wanted to talk to you. Like super nervous, and he was like, I called him back, and look what it's become. I was gonna ask you too, how did Todd share in the beginning when he didn't even have a product store? He didn't even have a Spark yet, and he was like,
they had a strong purpose.
They had a strong. So our upline diamonds are Todd and Shannon Barble, and they got to diamond, which is like the one of the top levels in AdvoCare in 7 months. They were one of the fastest, or 9 months, one of the fastest diamonds ever in AdvoCare history. They're both school teachers. He was a coach. Their whole thing was they went to go buy like their son basketball shoes, and they didn't have enough money to pay for them. And it like they were a blended family, so they got remarried and had kids that they brought. So it was really hard for them to get to that point. And you know what? We live in a place where maybe that's not the story out here often. You don't know. You never know. But in their circumstance, when someone said, hey, we have an opportunity we want to share with you, he's like, well, what do I have to lose? So he got on a webinar and just heard all the right things, and he spoke the opportunity to other people. He drank a spark. He's like, this stuff made me feel awesome, but listen, we're going to do this. So they got out and they said, we are building a business in AdvoCare, and we want to grow a team here, and we want you to be part of it. And I'd love for you to at least listen to what I have to say. And you get a friend on a webinar or a three-way phone call. They hear the same thing. Everyone was jumping to advisor because everyone wanted a business opportunity. So when you share that, that's what you receive. So don't be afraid to share the business opportunity, because that's how you find business builders. People are smart around here. Like, it doesn't have to be somebody who doesn't have $79 left in their bank account. It could be a very business savvy person who just knows the value of residual income.
But that's the other part with the success system and that third party credibility is, you know, even if you're nervous to share that whole picture of AdvoCare with somebody, that's why you put people on the phone on a three-way phone call with your leader. That's why you bring them to a mixer, because literally all you have to do is lock arms with them and bring them to that person or bring them to this room or wherever it is, and then we'll do it for you.
And they hear their choices, and then they get to decide what they want to do. So Todd very quickly shared all of AdvoCare, like what this is doing for people he knows, where he's going with it, and advisor after advisor after advisor. They have, and I believe this for our area too, they have about, I think like 7 or 8 diamonds in AdvoCare, all like within a 10-mile radius. They're all great friends. They decided to do this together, and they all got started together, and they're all stay-at-home parents that get to like live the best life. I mean, it's really cool. And not everybody wants to quit and do AdvoCare full time. It just so happened that their circumstances allowed them to do that. And they always say what you guys are doing in Orange County right now, or with your team, the culture you guys are creating, it's the same thing we started to do. So we know where you guys are headed. You just have to find the ones that want to do it with you, because guess what? 2 months, I'm going on vacation, taking friends on vacation with us. You know, they get a free incentive trip, and we get to, they always said, or when you join AdvoCare, the goal is they want you to walk the beaches together over the world. I'm like, yeah, who gets to do that? Well, next month, 8 of us that are friends are going to be on the beaches together. So it happens. It's really, really neat. So I look around, people who show up today who are watching, you know, and I'm like, those are people that are committed. And if you put time into it, this company absolutely pays you back tenfold. It's awesome.
And really quick, I got an email from Jeff Barvel, one of the Barvel brothers, the other day, and he was like, I just wanted to, he's not on Facebook or anything, so he's like, I just want to tell you, we love watching what you guys are doing out in California. Like, this is like the best thing ever. We're just constantly seeing you guys, and it's just so great because it makes us feel like this is what we did, and now you guys are doing this, and it's just to have someone like that you don't really ever hear from anyway, and he said that, and you're just like, dude, this is really incredible. I think we are in such a great position right now to be where we're at, and it's almost like if you don't see this, I just want to smack you. I mean, seriously, like this is some serious stuff that we have on our hands right here, and to be a part of this, and like Lauren and Ryan said, the friendships that you make on top of it are just incredible. But to be a part of this organization and to see our leaders actually telling us that they're seeing this duplicated again is just pretty big.
Yeah. And CJ brings up a good thing in saying, and I'll end on this. You know, our upline, our leaders live in a completely different state. So I know there's people watching that live in completely different states, and sometimes it's hard to watch this because I remember seeing in Ohio they had like this culture, and I was so far from it, and I didn't have anyone to help. You know, yes, they could get on a call, but they weren't there to help. Guess what? Like, you have to be the one to create it. Like, you have to. So maybe you don't live right down the street, and mixers are hard for you to get to. You can be the one to create it by you, which is even more powerful than having a group to already just latch onto. This is wonderful. We make it easy. It's a little harder to get it up and going, but oh my gosh, to be the one to start something in your area is just, it's awesome. So like, yes, our leaders are in Ohio, and I could have very easily said, oh, I don't want to do this. They all have it all figured out there. You can't do it unless you have a team. You have to create a team, you know, and you have to be a go-getter and you have to start it. And it's intimidating, but that's why I want, you know, we're all in this. You get phone calls from people in other states, so I want the people watching to know that, like, yes, I understand that sometimes this is hard to see, and you hear us talk about our mixers, and you don't have that. You have to create it. I mean, you have to start and find your Ryan. Honestly,
And you have to get uncomfortable to grow. Yeah. Even if one person comes to your mixer, it's still a mixer, you know? And if no one goes to your mixer, you and your friend that's there, you talk about AdvoCare and you talk about what to do next time, do a training, you know?
So we are good. I think we started at 8:45.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for coming. If you want to stick around and ask questions or drink some more Spark, you can. So thanks.
Yay.
Can we turn that off? Yes.
Bye, friends.